Let's go.
Normally you go to the ice cream shop to get a scoop. But if you just tune in to Gavin Noble and all his special guests, you could get a scoop. Now I'm not telling you that we provide vanilla, chocolate, pecan, strawberry. But what I can tell you is that this information is far from salt. Come get a scoop of this knowledge. Come get a scoop of this information. You might not be able to scoop me up in your ride, but you can come get a scoop of this information. Come get a scoop. I know you motherfuckers got a scoop today. Make sure you tune back in to get another scoop. Yeah, ooh.
You're now tuned in to
What's going on? What's happening?
Ooh. You came to get a scoop? Come get a scoop of this knowledge. Get a scoop of this information.
Let's go.
I know you want it. Presented to you by Gavin Noble, with surprise guests along the way. So get your ass in here and get a scoop. Get a scoop. Get a scoop. Come get a scoop of this knowledge. Get a scoop.
Yeah. What you think about that girl doing all the talking? You know that's actually me talking. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's hilarious.
I got this. That shit crazy, right? That's actually me talking. Yo, I got this.
I was like, who is this person he got on his shit? That's what I was thinking to myself.
Yo, bro, I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, and I was like, this plugin popped up. This new VST. It's called Voice, VOIS. You record whatever you. So it's actually made to be used. If you can't get like a female singer or a male singer on your song, you can record the lyrics and sing it. And then it will generate it into another person's voice for you, and it's copyright free. So it's
interesting. Wow.
Yo, the AI shit has come so fucking far. It's ridiculous.
Big time, man. Big time.
It's insane. Nah, man. Tonight you heard about that Dan Schneider motherfucker from Nickelodeon?
I heard a little bit about it, but I ain't really like. It's a lot of shit I just don't tune my frequency.
Your frequency into, because then it's shit.
Then let's see what it do, man. Cause I heard a little bit about it.
Yo, so I found this video on YouTube apart from the documentary they did. Shouts out to BJ Investigate. No pun intended there. That's the YouTube channel that I found this on. She really like shows a lot of shit that really has been going on, and you know that in Hollywood and just behind the scenes in general, there's a lot of shit that nobody knows. You know,
a lot.
And in 2024, it's all exposing itself. You know, the whole P Diddy shit.
It's the year of truth.
I swear.
The year of truth. Ain't no more of that fake shit.
I swear, and like with the whole P Diddy shit, the whole Meek Mill shit. I don't know if the Meek Mill shit's necessarily true or not. I feel like they did that to kind of like fuck up his album.
I don't know. They was wearing matching outfits. You know what I'm saying? They was wearing matching outfits. Who the fuck wear matching outfits these days? You did.
Yeah, but you know Diddy.
Besides
Diddy.
You and your lady.
Yeah, that's true, but you know Diddy, he all about them boy bands. You know what I mean? Like B5.
Yeah, I know.
He want them Backstreet and NSYNC type motherfuckers. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I could never sign to Diddy because I wouldn't be me anymore.
You know, I looked up to Diddy a whole lot because, well, I'm gonna say because of his business side. And the type of moves that he made, besides everything we're hearing now. But before, it's just like Trump. I used to fucking fuck with Trump because he was a fucking Mongol when it comes to real estate. And I was all about real estate for at least 6 years back then. And so that's way before he was president and we get to actually hear his ass talk. But same thing with Diddy. I had appreciated his business side of him and the ear that he had. But all that other shit It's out of this order. It's out of order.
Yeah, it's.
But I can see that shit going on though, cause they do a lot of shit, man. A lot of shit, and like some of them videos that came up, him talking about, you know what I'm saying? He got money, and they do what I tell them to do, and that's it. That's all.
Well, you remember Diddy had that show where he used to make motherfuckers run across the city for cheesecake just to get a deal.
On my soul, yeah, he did.
I ain't doing it. You go get your own fucking cheesecake. I came here to make music. Fuck all that shit. I don't know, bro.
But you know what? I think the metaphor for that was just testing how hungry you really want this music thing. And yeah, it was a little fucking out of order, you know what I mean, the way he did it. But I believe the intent was to like mold them into being hungry,
right,
and doing what it got to be done to get it done. And just so happened it had to be a cheesecake, and they had to go over fucking town for that bitch. Did they have to like catch the train and bus and walk and shit like that?
Yeah, and you know he ain't eat that cheesecake neither. He ain't even eat that shit. I think the craziest thing
You know,
is
that shit warm.
Yeah. By the time they got back, that shit was all fucked up and melted and shit. But I think that a lot of motherfuckers, man, like, as far as Hollywood goes, I feel like once they get, you know, a certain amount of money, I feel like they think that they can break the rules because they can pay their way out of that trouble. You know what I mean? And
True that.
And it just eventually it's not gonna work for you. But check this shit out, right? So I found this video. I'm gonna play this shit. I'm gonna transition that over real quick. Listen to this shit. It's crazy.
Today my special guest is the executive producer of The Amanda Show, Dan Schneider.
Thank you to Nickelodeon. Thank you to Dan Schneider. Dan, we love you. Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you, Nickelodeon. Thank you, Dan Schneider.
It's hard to put into words what Dan has done for all of us.
I want to thank Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider.
He's the guy behind some of the greatest shows on Nickelodeon. His name is Dan Schneider.
If you watch Dan Schneider's work, it is completely impossible to escape the notion of feet.
Have you ever tried to get your whole big toe in your mouth? Check this out.
There's just
Like,
feet
what
everywhere.
the fuck?
Tori, please pour ketchup all over your feet.
I still say this is not performing.
This is why I'm in Hollywood.
Eat your cereal, kids.
Hey, Dan Schneider, look what you've done to me.
Like, yo.
Dan Schneider. Boom. He is responsible for the prolific careers of a bunch of people, bunch of shows that we all have come to know and love, from millennials all the way to Gen Z and everybody above, below, and in between.
Now I know you are just a little bit older than me, but I remember being a kid and like watching those shows. And as a kid, like shit like that doesn't even cross your mind, right? Because you still got like an innocent mind. You're not thinking like, yo, like, why is every one of his shows, you know, involving like putting feet in your mouth or putting toes close up to the camera or fucking putting food on your feet? But then as an adult,
Yeah, the feet fetish.
yes, a whole ass foot fetish, yo, and he was doing it to teenage girls and shit. And from what I'm starting to understand is he was doing it to the teenage boys as well. And
Wow.
what's that motherfucker's name from? I know he wasn't on. I think he was Disney, but that motherfucker from That's So Raven. What's his name?
The one been doing all the videos lately.
Yeah, you know the one where you talking about Raven gave him that
Yeah.
doobop or whatever.
I can't think of his name on top of my head right now. Something Brown.
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown, yeah.
Yo, that
Yeah.
shit, like, you start to realize now, like, the reason why he probably is the way he is now is, like, he never really got a chance to be a kid, and he was thrown into so many adult situations at such a young age that now, like, he's all
Yeah.
fucked up, not to mention whatever was done to him behind the scenes, you know? And that's, I'm a firm believer as well, like, You know, they a lot of motherfuckers still crack jokes about Michael Jackson like he was a pedophile and shit. I'm a firm believer he wasn't. I don't
think he was.
There's no shot. You know, I feel like Michael was spending a lot of time in his later years trying to find a way to just feel normal and fit in, and he found that relativity with the younger crowd because he never got a chance to do that. So it was like he was trying to live that at the latter days of his life when he should have been living it in his early years. But then
but he couldn't.
Right, that's the conundrum, because if he would have, he wouldn't be Michael Jackson. You know, he wouldn't be who we know him to be today. So it's almost like you pick your poison. You know, like it's crazy to me that like, and she just goes deep, bro. Like she starts really like throwing some shit out there.
If you are alive right now, you probably are familiar with something that Dan Schneider has created. He's responsible for the careers of Amanda Bynes, Josh Peck, Jamie Lynn Spears, Miranda Cosgrove, Jeanette McCurdy, and even Ariana Grande. Many more, but that's just to name a few. There were some seriously frightening and worrisome things going on at Nickelodeon Studios during that heyday with his company Schneider's Bakery. It seems as though Nickelodeon and everyone involved seem to try to sweep under the rug a lot of strange and worrisome behaviors that we're going to get into today. Now, Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider have been exposed a million times over by many people on YouTube.
I have a new video for you guys because it's time to talk about this monster, Dan Schneider.
Could they have prevented this? And if so, why didn't they?
If you don't understand why the giant foot plays such a big part in this, you will in a minute.
Hidden behind that orange foot is some disgusting, deplorable things.
You have a foot fetish, no judgment here.
And then another thing, like I never really realized that the fucking Nickelodeon thing, like, so there's two things. Something came across Facebook the other day for me, right? And it was like, you know how the Nickelodeon's got like the Nickelodeon splat with the name Nickelodeon across it? Apparently,
correct.
It's the same shape as Epstein's Island. Like literally symmetrically identical to the shape of Epstein's Island from above. You can take that splat and place it right over top.
You know what? I did come across a video about that, and I just kept scrolling, but I was like interesting, but I just kept going. But yeah, that is quite a big coincidence right there. A lot of shit got meanings to it, man. First off, I don't remember it was a foot.
Yeah, I didn't. I just realized that
the orange foot.
And so then it's like, yo, like, does this man?
You know what I mean? I just knew all about the splash back in the day.
That's what I remembered until they just showed the foot, and now I'm like, damn, like this man was really fucked up, yo. Like this man was really
true that.
Like putting it in your face without putting it in your face. You know what I mean? Like almost getting you to getting your approval of it without getting your approval of it. It's crazy. Like this shit is insane.
That's all you. But it's different when you put that foot fetish in a children's TV show. Now that's when it becomes a problem.
All his colleagues around him seem to be held accountable, but he doesn't seem to be held accountable.
And there was another actress called Alexa Nicholas. She went on Instagram Live.
And my mom was like, can you please get Dan? Get Dan here immediately, get the producers here immediately. Someone needs to figure out what just happened to my daughter. So then finally Dan walks in. And Dan has not helped the entire time. And I don't feel comfortable going into details about what I've seen with Dan or like what Dan is.
My mom put me in acting, like it wasn't my choice. I was 6, I had to support my family. So it wasn't like I was, you know, came out of the womb like I'm tap dancing and like ready to go or something. It's the thing that I feel the most shame of in my entire life. I do not like any of the acting work that I have ever, like any of the projects that I've been a part of as an actor. And even talking about it, honestly, my heart starts to race and like I feel like I almost could cry.
So now, according to a website called Looper.com, for years, prolific producer Dan Schneider occupied a prominent place in the world of children's television, as we've just discussed. Throughout the late 90s and...
Damn, I'm late as hell too, because you heard what she just said too. Like, she was pretty much like forced into acting Like her parents made her do it, and then she felt at 6 years old she felt responsible.
That's what I was hearing too.
That's crazy. Like I could never find myself making my kids feel like they're responsible to take care of me.
It was like she said, we done hedge you, now you got to make money for us.
Right, and got thrown into it, and she didn't really have an option because she's 6 years old. Like, what you gonna say no? Like, you're taught, you listen to your parents, you do what your parents tell you to do, and now, like, yo, that's so fucked up, man. Like, that shit, for real, it's depressing. So I get why you be avoiding it, but you know what I mean, like. I just feel like it definitely got to be talked about. Like it's
early 2000s. Dan and his Schneider Bakery banner oversaw numerous hit shows on Nickelodeon, including All That, Kenan and Kel, Drake and Josh, and iCarly. At the height of Dan's fame, he was likened to fellow TV titan Norman Lear by the New York Times, a comparison that should indicate just how respected he was at that point in time.
I don't like Dan.
So now let's get into some of the weird stuff that this man is responsible for doing. Like, first of all, we cannot ignore the feet.
Always with the fucking feet.
So basically what happened is a few of us started getting a little older, and we would revisit some of Dan Schneider's shows, like on Nick at Night or just reruns or whatever, and we started thinking like this very familiar feeling across all of us, like, what the fuck were we watching?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes!
After this, we massage my feet.
No, gross. Get in between the toes.
It was weird.
She's a star, so she gets
what the
big. She gets a big spitball shooter thing. I want. Hey. No, hey, wait. Take a close up of this. Can you get a close up of this one?
Yo, is it me, or does that look like what it looked like?
Yeah, it looked like what it looked like.
Bro, what the fuck? Yo, for anybody who's listening, when this goes up on iTunes or Spotify and shit, right? On these podcasts, what we looking at right now is Amanda Bynes as a teenager sitting in front of something that looks like something it shouldn't look like. You know what I mean? Use your imagination. It's just crazy.
You go, boy.
Amanda, demonstrate. Spitball or pipe out.
You see there, the toilet paper and you get a gallon of fresh spit, and then you spit in your the little part in this thing.
What do you think of that explanation?
Oh, it was very explanatory.
Specifically the feet. It is absolutely impossible to escape the concept and image of children's feet.
Would you smell my foot and tell me what you think?
I dare you to spend one day saying yes, yes.
Yeah, I'll smell your foot.
Thank you.
It's just feet everywhere, feet all around.
I have a weird
Oh, this man's sick as
What's your
fuck.
talent? Okay, I'll show you. Can't believe I'm doing this.
It even went so far as to permeate onto Nickelodeon's actual logo for some time, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, a big foot. It was just feet everywhere. And at the time as a child, I think I probably just thought it was funny or whatever. But when some of these fans, reporters, journalists started to look back at these shows with a little bit of perspective, they started to notice that it wasn't just feet being featured on the shows, but Dan Schneider himself, from his public original Twitter account, was soliciting pictures of children's feet from the audience, from Nickelodeon fans on Twitter. It's just weird. What is his weird obsession with children's feet? Like, sure, put it in your shows, that's kind of weird. Force Ariana Grande to have her feet stuck in a thing so you can tickle them or lick them or whatever weird you did on that episode. I don't know. So basically make your own.
That's crazy too, right? Because, Ariana Grande, she got like body dysmorphia issues now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if you've seen like lately, like, and now I don't think Ariana Grande gonna hear this shit, but if she does, I apologize in advance. But like She was a really pretty girl, yo, and then she like lost like, yo, when I tell you, like, she lost a lot of weight. Like a lot of weight. Like, she looked very sick in my opinion. Like, you could just see her ribs. Like, I feel like if you can visibly see your ribs standing up, you need to eat some shit. Like, you need to eat something.
Myself.
Like, so when you backtrack and you go to shit like this and you see like she's doing all this shit on Nickelodeon, and it make you like, yo, that's, to me, like, a lot of these motherfuckers are dealing with some trauma responses now that that they can't avoid dealing with. And then Hollywood is so fucked up that now once they start dealing with these trauma responses and doing certain things, Hollywood will turn around and tell everybody they're crazy and try to put them on medication, and they'll blackball them and shut them completely out. And people will believe it, like Britney Spears, for example. Everybody, you know, when she was shaving her head and losing her fucking mind and shit, everybody's like, oh, she's losing it, she's crazy. But really, like, Hollywood has fucked her over, and so have her parents. Like, Britney Spears' parents have full control of her money, and she can't do shit. She is a prisoner without bars. And that's just sad. Like, that's why I think I want to touch a point on how I've in a couple of your shows on Duck Stripper Dry, you talk about not selling your soul, you know, because you'll have musicians come through and they'll send certain shit that's copycat and shit, and you tell them like, yo, stop, don't sell your soul, like, just be true to you, be unique, you know, because once you start selling your soul, like, this is the road. This is the road that it goes down, and there really ain't no going back. Cause once your mind starts getting fucked with, it's a wrap. You can't take whatever gets put in. It's not, your mind is not like a file cabinet, right? But it acts as such. Whatever gets put in your mind can never be taken back out. You know, it's not a bookshelf. So it's like you have to be very careful on what you allow to enter your mind, because once it's in there, you're gonna be dealing with that for the rest of your life. And I feel bad for these motherfuckers, for real. Like,
for real.
How you feel about this shit so far?
Well, you know, it sucks about the childhood of these young children not really getting a chance to live that child life, because they're pretending to be a kid while being a kid, but doing adult shit.
Right.
And it's pretty fucked up, you know what I'm saying? It's really fucked up. It's like, you know, like how we were saying about Michael Jackson, he was really getting in touch with his child side when he was having kids and shit over to his crib. I really don't think he was doing anything personally to these kids, but connecting with them, because he had trauma of where he couldn't be a full child, be a full kid. His father was fucking tough.
Tough on him.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they was getting whoopings with the switch. And we listened to that young lady talking earlier where she was saying that it was her responsibility to take care of her family at 6 years old. Like, are you serious? Like you said, how the fuck do they even come across your mind at 6 years old? I'm playing with G.I. Joes and Transformers at 6 years old. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's sad as hell, man, you know, that they can't really, and you know, it's all about the delusion that the world is in, period. You know, it's all a system and made to be how it is. And so Hollywood, by that being one of the biggest brainwashers on this planet, you feel me? So they have all this shit in place, and like these signs, these feet, yo, that's some shit right there. That's some real, like,
it's grooming,
like, demonic type shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's grooming, because it's like it's like kennel training a new puppy, right? You get a new puppy, and we're told that you have to kennel train your puppy so that they learn not to shit and piss in the house. You kennel train them. You take them from the kennel. You take them outside. They start to learn that process, and then they just know that I'm supposed to shit outside. It's the same difference. They're kennel training these children. You know what I mean? Right. And
right.
What's happened is, you know, subconsciously, their brains start to become manipulated and think a certain way. And that's what I was telling Brendan, my son, my oldest son. I was telling him earlier. We was talking about the aliens and shit in Miami, and how all of a sudden you just don't see it.
That's my talk right there.
And I'm telling you. And he was like, now you don't even see anything about it. And I just explained to him, I'm like, son, I'm like, they always say, don't believe everything you hear and only believe half of what you see. I said, that shit was put out the way it was put out on purpose so that you could come up with a certain opinion to place you in a certain position, and that's where they wanted you. They wanted you thinking a certain way so you would react a certain way so that they could come in and do whatever they need to do and have you right where they want you. And it's the same thing. Like, it's all secret messages, you know what I mean? Like, and when I was a kid, like you said, you was playing with G.I. Joes. I remember we was so motherfucking broke. My mom would let me play with like money, like little pennies and shit. And I would use the president's heads and pretend like they're people. You know what I mean? Like, that's where my head was at like 6 years old. Like, I can't imagine being 6 and feeling like, man, I got to make sure my mom eats today. I don't even know how that comes across your brain. Like, it's
at all.
This shit is crazy fucked up. Like, and this girl, she just goes in depth more and more.
Decision up about the feet. To me, I think it's weird. And us over here at BJ Investigates thinks it's weird. As if that's not weird enough, we could end the episode there because it's really weird that the man was asking children for pictures of their naked feet with writing on the bottom of it. It's just very weird, Daniel. It's a really weird thing to do. But then the next thing that they actually did that I think is...
You said what?
The other slide that she said earlier, she said he was on Twitter soliciting pictures of children's feet.
Yeah, he was trying to get kids to like write stuff on the bottom of their feet and send pictures in. He probably ain't give no fucks about what was written on the feet. He probably just wanted the pictures of the feet. Yo,
that's sick.
It's crazy.
That's
like
sick.
And what's even crazier,
I just thought about that.
Yeah, and what's even crazier is that because it's a brand name like Nickelodeon, these parents, they feel like their kids are safe. They're like, oh, it's innocent, you know what I mean? So they're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then I guarantee whoever those parents are that let their kids send those pictures, seeing this shit now, I guarantee they feel like shit.
They feel right. They feel like shit. They feel like
it's crazy. And I wish that I had like the capabilities of doing like a Catch a Predator show, because I would fucking love to do that. I would love to fucking do that. Yeah. I can't. I'm actually shocked that Dan Schneider hasn't, been sitting at the motherfucking kitchen bar with what's his name, the motherfucker from Catch a Predator. What's that motherfucker's name?
Oh,
is it Chris Hansen? You know what I mean? Like, cause that's when you look. Yeah, when you look at Dan Schneider, he looked like one of those motherfuckers that brings cookies and beer to a 13-year-old for real. Like,
right?
He really does.
Right.
Really strange was Dan would host these recruiting parties for children.
He would have pool parties.
Pool parties, though.
And invite all the kids over and be like, oh, we'll just take care of the kids. No adults need to come over. So he was having pool parties with these kids that were on the show without any kind of adult supervision going on. One of my friends that used to work on a couple of the shows that he did, I mean, this goes back to the mid-early 90s. And he would spend extremely large amounts of time alone with the kids in their dressing rooms without any adult supervision in there either. He was just he's just a sick dude, and people have known about this in the industry for a long time. This isn't anything that's new to people within there, and it's not anything new to Nickelodeon either. I don't know why Nickelodeon continues to put up with this guy.
Who the fuck dropped those kids off?
They parents.
Yo.
He told their parents they are okay. Y'all can go home. They're safe here.
I could never. Especially not my daughter. Maybe my son, because my sons know, you know what I mean? Like, how to handle themselves, you know. At least my older ones do. My 12-year-old and 14-year-old do, but not my daughters. I don't care if I'm dropping my daughter off and she's 25. I might still fucking stay. Like,
right.
Who are you? What do you want? I need to read your ass and figure out what your ulterior motives are, or see if you got ulterior motives.
Right.
I'm sure as fuck not dropping off my 12-year-old daughter to no man at a pool party in a two-piece. And first off, I'm not gonna have my daughter at 12 years old wearing a fucking two-piece bathing suit neither.
At no grown man's house.
The best swimming equipment ever is a snowsuit. That shit float. You won't drown and your body ain't exposed. That's what my daughter are gonna be going to pool parties in.
My best swimsuit to that pool party is a 45 Magnum.
Exactly.
That's the swimsuit that she gonna be wearing, because I'm coming through that bitch swamping their ass.
Yo, I'm really ashamed of these parents that took their kids there and they did it.
That's like R. Kelly, man. Them parents had everything to do with them girls and their daughters at his crib. They knew what the fuck going on. He paid for what they asked for.
That's what I was gonna say. They seen dollar signs. They used their children for a check.
For a check.
That's insane to me. That's fucking. I'm so baffled by this shit.
So in 1997, I was discovered in a mall, and eventually I got a manager and an agent. And then as I started growing in my career, in 2007, my agent contacted me and my family about possibly getting a good Nickelodeon gig. I personally, at the time, I watched a ton of Nickelodeon, and I was very immersed in that lifestyle, so I wanted to pursue it. My mom, and she was my manager at the time, she had some, reservations about it. She didn't really want me being exposed like that, especially because in the audition call listing, they did mention, like, wear something cute, like wear spaghetti straps or a skirt or, whatever. And my mom, when she told me later on that whenever she saw things like that, she thought that it was a little uncomfortable for people to be telling kids what to wear.
How old were you at the time?
I was probably around 15, 14 years old. And I was actually considered older at the time for what they were looking for. So in 2007, my agent called about the Nickelodeon show. It was for Zoe 101, but because that show I think was getting canceled at the time.
It looks like the Spears family is growing again, but this time it's not Britney Spears who's expecting. It's her 16-year-old little sister, Jamie Lynn.
Nickelodeon did put out a carefully worded statement saying, quote, "We respect Jamie Lynn's decision to take responsibility in this sensitive and personal situation. Our primary concern right now is for Jamie Lynn's well-being, not our show, Zoe 101.
They were looking just for anything, and then Dan Schneider's next show was iCarly. So they were looking for,
So she's 16 and pregnant. I want to know who the father is. Who was
right? Might be Schneider, old nasty ass.
Right, because here's the thing. Like, I remember being younger and hearing that she was pregnant. Like, this is back in like 2009 or so, like years ago. But it never crossed my mind, like, to think too much deeper into it than, oh, she's pregnant. You know what I mean? It was normal, like 16 and pregnant was so common. I was like, oh, she just did whatever. But now I'm wondering, like, who is the...
Like, what time does she has
to go lay on her back
and shit? But he's in their dressing rooms by himself all the time.
Right. So then it started making you really fucking wonder, and it's Yo, like that's what I want to know. If they
It's disgusting.
Is they gonna bring up who the father is?
Or possibly like a lead type of role. So, of course, my agent jumped on that opportunity, and we flew out to LA for this audition. And when we got there, it was probably like 200 kids. And then these random agents hand-selected specific kids that they liked or, you know, showed some charisma. And then once about 40 kids were selected, we were then told to take off our shoes and that we were each going to go into a room to show the producer, who is Dan Schneider, the tape to see who he would want on the show. And of course, you know, we always ask, like, what would you like us to be doing once we're in there? My agent told me, you got to just take off your shoes, just like run around in front of the camera, you know, talk about how much you love being barefoot. And at the time, even, you know, it was like, okay, that's weird, but it didn't think anything of it because I was still young.
Did she say that he told them to tell
Take
him
their shoes off?
Tell him how much they like being barefoot?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fetish type shit. Run around the room and tell me how much you like being barefoot.
What the fuck?
Sick motherfucker, man.
Then when I saw other kids doing it, like their parents were like, take your shoes off, like we're going in, like this is it, this is your thing. You know, it was all the kids that were wearing like the short shorts, like the, you know, spaghetti strapped tank tops, you know, things that were a little more open and less reserved. And then once we got into the last room before my audition happened, my mom kind of looked around and was like, this is wrong. There's just something really wrong about this. And at the time, I was really upset because I wanted to do this.
The new cast started with a 2-week comedy boot camp that Schneider held with the help of the team that included the show's dialogue coach, Ryan Peck.
And at the parties, the children would be wearing bathing suits. It would be minimally supervised. And to listen to some children who describe these parties, they would say their parents were not even invited.
Interestingly enough, most of the kids got discovered by the pool. And I believe like it was like Megan Fox and Hilary Duff was another one who got discovered there at the pool.
And the parents were so desperate to have their children be famous for whatever reason. I can't relate. You couldn't have gone to I don't know, anywhere where there's clothes. I don't know. So then in 2014, I don't know where this falls in the timeline, but Dan Schneider received a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Kids' Choice Awards.
Crazy, because now that like you hear what, you know, like them coming out and talking about certain things.
Yeah.
You hear them talk about that, then you see this where they're like, we're so honored to, you know, present this award to Dan Schneider, and now you start like to think like how genuine is what they saying? Like, are they really honored to give it to him, or like
could be brainwashed? Maybe he didn't do that to all of them.
Or maybe they didn't know it was wrong.
Right.
He had been doing it for so long, so early that they thought that was the normal.
Those are all possibilities, you know.
Which goes back to the kennel training, you know what I mean? Like kennel training the kids, like getting them in a certain routine where they know this is just what it is and how it's supposed to be. And I'm wondering, like, at some point, has any of these kids ever like brought it up to their parents, and their parents been like, oh no, he's not doing that, that's okay, like, and shrugged it off because they getting a check?
Interesting. That's a good question.
You know, like
one of their asses pop out and reveal that answer. Shit.
I feel like all their parents should be required to take a lie detector test. All of them.
Man.
Put them on a lie detector. Take them to fucking Steve Wilkos. Put them on a lie detector test, and let's see if they pass. Let Dan Rebikoff take care of that.
You changed Kids TV.
You know, it's hard to put into words what Dan has done for all of us. And all of you out there and all over the world. So, we'll just say, thank you, Dan. So, it is our great honor to present the first ever Nickelodeon Lifetime Achievement Award to a man who's been making all of us laugh for the past 2 decades. Put your hands together for the one.
Schneider, surrounded by a posse of teeny boppers, all of them hanging all over the man. It's really weird.
They hang on their daddies like that.
Yeah, I mean, he even responded like a
March
child.
29th, 2018, Nickelodeon and Schneider's Bakery, which is Dan's company, finally part ways. So I guess like allegations had gotten like so bad or whatever, but actually Jake has gotten me an article that I have not read yet. It's by Deadline.com and it's called Nickelodeon Parts Ways with TV series producer Dan Schneider. Exclusive, updated. Nickelodeon has ended its long relationship with one of its most prolific creators, Dan Schneider. Probably for the best considering the feet thing alone. Here's a quote. Following many conversations together about next directions and future opportunities, Nickelodeon and our longtime creative partner Dan Schneider, Schneider's Bakery, have agreed to not extend the current deal. Nickelodeon and Schneider said in a joint statement to Deadline the following. Since several Schneider's Bakery projects are wrapping up, both sides agreed that this is a natural time for Nickelodeon and Schneider's Bakery to pursue other opportunities and projects. This is kind of weird to me considering like he made his whole career on Nickelodeon. Like, I don't know where he thought he was about to go. I mean, I think everything he ever did was on Nickelodeon, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very strange that it would be natural for him to leave this network whenever he made his career on the network.
So pretty much what I get from that is Nickelodeon knew something, and without saying he was doing something, you know, they just pretty much made that motherfucker resign. Kind of like how cops get an opportunity to, or cops and teachers, they all get an opportunity to resign without marks on their record. I feel like that's exactly what just happened there. They let that man resign pretty much without a mark on his record, and he thought he got away scot-free. And then everybody starts
He
talking.
don't work no more. He don't get no more work.
That's crazy to me. Like, they should have been put his ass on blast. But then Nickelodeon, they're not going to do that because then it's going to damage their name, because Dan Schneider was under Nickelodeon's brand. So whatever Dan Schneider did was a representation of what Nickelodeon allowed.
Yep.
And they wanted to keep it as quiet as he did. For
the Nickelodeon brand is all children brand right there. It's all child brand, like not even for adults, but it's like fucking Disney, you know what I mean?
And ain't SpongeBob a part of Nickelodeon? I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, SpongeBob is.
There's a whole conspiracy with SpongeBob. You know, like how Mr. Krabs is Mr. Krabs is the only crab in the ocean. You know, and Plankton tries to figure out what the recipe for the Krabby Patty is, and you know, Mr. Krabs never gives it to him. The conspiracy on that is that Mr. Krabs was the only crab in the ocean because the secret recipe in the Krabby Patty was crab.
It's crab. Wow. Hell no.
So Nickelodeon, man, y'all fucked up for real. Like, I ain't gonna be having none of my kids watching Nick Jr. no more. You got me fucked up. That shit ain't happening.
No.
Maybe it had something to do with something else not maybe natural. Dan and his Schneider's Bakery team have created a string of lasting, groundbreaking hits over the years, including, we've already discussed this, iCarly, Victorious, and the current #1 hit show on Nickelodeon, Henry Danger. The statement continued. We thank Dan and his Schneider's Bakery producers, executives, and social media team for their immeasurable contributions to Nickelodeon, and we wish them the best in their future endeavors. And Dan and Schneider's Bakery are proud of the work they did together with Nickelodeon and will always remain big fans of the network. The decision comes as Nickelodeon has opted to cancel Schneider's latest series, Game Shakers, after 3 seasons. They go on to say, among other things, I hear there had been multiple complaints of abusive behavior against Schneider filed by members of his staff.
What's going on back here by the robot? Hold on, let's see what's happening. Let's see what's happening back. Oh no! I haven't got my costume on yet. Are we close to bowling? Sorry, caught Jerry in a bad moment there. How much attention does Jeanette need?
Them kids look so uncomfortable.
What did the young shrimp say? When his mom said he wants charity of his toy.
Try it again. but more cat-like.
Okay. For years, Schneider had been under a cloud of suspicion over the treatment of some younger stars of his shows. Among the things that have raised eyebrows are his tweeted photos of the toes of his young female stars. Y'all, one thing I will tell you right now is people will actually pay money to look at your feet. I did not know that. That was news to me. But I will tell you that is the truth. So he's just putting it all out there on the internet for free, these children's toes. I mean, just weird how, like, because you're a director of a show that people play on, that you feel like you have access over that person's body to just be posting pictures of their parts. That is gross and weird. These are children. And who was protecting these children? Their parents were the ones dropping them off at the damn pool party. They had to see these tweets about these feet. If I saw somebody tweeting, soliciting pictures of children's feet, and they were working with children, I might ask some questions. But these parents don't seem to have. I don't know. Maybe they did. I wasn't there. Schneider has been well documented as having temper issues for years. And there's these weird videos too, like you'll see, like he'll come around with like a, you know, remember the video cameras used to carry around, like VHS cameras, whatever. He would come around video recording like the stars on the set. It's almost like they would go rigid, like Ariana Grande, like, hey, what are you doing here?
Fucking pedophile vibes if I ain't never fucking seen one.
Yeah.
Going around with the VHS tape recorder. Fucking
70s, 80s pedophile vibe.
And you know he taking that fucking video home with him. He ain't leaving it at the office.
No.
He not leaving that shit at the office, yo. Like, come on. And then she said maybe the parents were upset about it. Like, I don't think so. I don't think they cared. I think what the parents observed it to be was they knew their kids was going to be on set 90% of the time, putting the work in, making a check. The parents looked at it as daycare that paid them.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a paycheck from it because of them being pretty much the parent. Like, you know, they
like the money, they like the house, they like the cars. Like, they ain't gotta work.
Yeah, they like that whole lifestyle. They use their children to maintain a lifestyle that they couldn't afford.
I mean, it's people right now that use their children to get government benefits when they don't even need to get government benefits. Like, purposely to have all your kids say they crazy so you can get an extra check. It's crazy. It's redundant.
Right. Draining that Social Security. You know what I mean? So motherfuckers like us ain't gonna have nothing to pull from when we're unable to do anything anymore. It's so just benign.
That was one of the better things I've ever heard.
Hey!
Hi, what's going on here?
Cut out that part.
Why are you sitting on the floor of the set?
Because we are.
They are. Did you just bark?
No. No, I did not.
It must be the set ghost.
Who barked?
She don't even want to be there.
That was really scary. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Like, it was very obvious that the kids were uncomfortable being around this creep. So the author says, I hear there was a flare-up last week. This would have been like around March 2018. During a meeting Dan had with Nickelodeon executives where they indicated to him that Game Shakers was not getting renewed for a 4th season. Sources say that Schneider's reaction was at least in part due to the fact that Game Shakers was about to wrap production on its 3rd season the following day with a cliffhanger season finale, which would leave fans without any closure. So that's allegedly what he was upset about. The author says, I hear at the meeting, Schneider was also told that with his other Nick comedy, Henry Danger, on hiatus, another show would move into the production space in the Nickelodeon-owned Burbank studio, which has housed Schneider's series exclusively for the past few years. Sources say that Schneider objected to the prospect of having to share the office and production space with the non-Schneider's Bakery show. So there was a little bit of a turf war, but I think they were already like, you have been accused too much and you gotta go. After the ousting, after the departure of Dan Schneider from Nickelodeon, the New York Times seems to have attempted to actually rehabilitate Dan Schneider's reputation. Schneider's blog and YouTube channel from when he was Nickelodeon's star showrunner captured the way he would interact with the teenage actors and young fans of the show. He posted a video of him spooking the iCarly actress Miranda Cosgrove as she walked into a room.
Oh my gosh, that is so mean. But it wasn't that good. I didn't get that scared.
You were kind of scared.
I was a little scared. You get me. You never get me.
I just did.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, that scared me so.
But some people who worked on Schneider's shows asked for anonymity because they feared that they would be basically retaliated against by him.
She say nice things about me? Because I will tase her if necessary.
Uh-oh.
I have the taser. We haven't had to use it in a long time.
I said lots
what?
of nice things.
So
Yo, he looked like a fucking creep, bro. Like, he just... Look at that.
I really be tasing their ass.
He looks so creepy. Like, I'm be honest, like, I get, like, you know, because I'm sure there's motherfuckers out there that defend him. You know, his mom, his grandma, maybe a sister, if he's got one.
Hell, Jeffrey Dahmer mama defended him, and
Hey.
she found heads in the refrigerator.
That's what I'm saying, like, but at the end of the day, just because you work closely with these children, I'm sorry, but you still look too fucking comfortable. You look too comfortable. Like, I got nieces and nephews that, you know, I make sure, like, they feel comfortable around me and that they know they're safe, and you just don't do certain things, you know what I mean? Like, especially in today's world, like, you just don't. Like, and this man looked way too fucking comfortable. Way too fucking comfortable.
Friendly.
Way too fucking friendly. Like,
I said nice things about you.
That's gonna get on TV. What? That's gonna get on TV.
They said they viewed his chumminess with young actors as awkward and odd for a powerful, middle-aged showrunner. I agree completely. Several recalled that he often spent time during the workday interacting with young fans online, and then after work he would be texting with child actors about silly matters of teenage internet life. Former crew members recalled that Justice's character had a locker on the set of Victorious, decorated with photos of young men, alongside the words "Dudelicious" and "Who's hot." One of the photos was a headshot of a young Dan Schneider, who's definitely not hot.
And there's lots of random stuff in her locker. I'm constantly staring at these pictures, and I'm just kind of confused by her artwork.
that fucking poster says "Who's hot" at the bottom. And then it's got Dan Schneider at the top left. Why? Why do you want validation from these children?
That's crazy.
Why
High
would you-
school.
Yeah. Like, why? Like, why would you want validation from these children?
You got two other children, and then you. Who's hot?
It's so nauseating. Like, what
A fun
the
fact as
fuck?
well, this is Dan Schneider. This is a younger picture of handsome young Dan.
Schneider said the locker decoration was likely added by someone in the art department and that it was never his goal as a showrunner to be popular or recognized.
She say nice things about me?
That's a lie.
Because I will tase her.
Now, I know that's bullshit. I know it for a fact, Dan, because I saw your ass in a hot tub with a 12, 14-year-old Amanda Bynes. So if you
Bynes.
didn't want to be popular and famous or whatever the bullshit lie you told the New York Times, then you wouldn't have been in that hot tub with a preteen/young teenage girl or anyone else in the hot tub for that matter. As for interacting with fans online, he said that he did so, quote, only in very public ways that were fully transparent to his colleague. Yeah, These creeps tell us out loud what they're doing every damn day. And then when we find them doing it, they go, I did it in front of y'all. Nobody said anything when I was having pool parties for teenagers at my house. Nope, I don't know why Dan has a country accent, but he does. Just because you were a creep in public doesn't mean you weren't being a creep, you creep. Former crew members also said Schneider seemed to imagine himself as the king of Nick on Sunset, the network's former soundstage. He had a private bathroom next to the one that most of the other staff members had to use. 3 former colleagues recalled occasions when staff members pushed him from one room to another in a roller chair so he could keep working en route. It was like Wall-E 1.0. He didn't stand up to walk around other than to chase kids around with his damn camera. Did he have somebody pushing him around for that? He's disgusting. I'm disgusted by him. Over the years, I've grown and matured as a producer and leader, so I guess that means you just don't have to be held responsible or accountable for anything you've ever done. These days, after his 3-year hiatus, Schneider seems set on returning to television and reintroducing his brand of comedy to new audiences. During a 3-hour interview at the Beverly Hills Hotel, he discussed the state of children's television and his plan to bring forward an ambitious and very different pilot that he has written and sold to another network. I'm assuming it's Disney.
Schneider created iCarly, so I know him really well. That's the thing where I was sort of, I mean, if that went on,
what? I never even fucking thought about that. Gibby, right? That little dude right there. He never had a shirt on in any show he was in, because he was in a couple different shows. He never had a shirt on. Never. Like, ever.
Wow. I didn't never think about that either.
Never had a shirt on. Bro. Grooming these motherfucking kids, man.
That's devastating to me because I don't see him in that light, you know. So watching clips on YouTube for that is like crazy. But I mean, the foot fetish is like, okay, bro, come on. Like I never really noticed that when I was 15 on the show, but of course, looking in retrospect, it's like, okay, all right.
All the pieces fell into place.
all the yeah, I just got 2020 and knew what was up.
Did he ever ask you to take your shoes off or anything like that? Anything to do with your fit?
No, but I took my shirt off on TV at 10 years old, so I don't know. Maybe.
But Dan Schneider is still back on the scene. In my opinion, total creep. Total suspicious vibes. The pool parties and the feet pics alone, just too much for me. Coupled with the obvious discomfort and fear that the young actors that we all know about today demonstrated in the presence of Dan Schneider and his video camera, on top of the fact that he no longer has a job, and I know for a fact he's responsible for making hundreds of millions of dollars, if not more, for Nickelodeon. I cannot see any other reason why he was fired other than misconduct. Now, what the misconduct was, I don't know if I'm even allowed to say it on YouTube, but y'all comment below what your opinion is and what your thought is on Dan Schneider, and we will be back very soon with another PJ Investigates.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
So
that's crazy.
This dude is just plain old, just sick as hell.
I mean, and here's the thing too, right? Like, if it makes sense, it's usually the truth. And if it don't make sense or it doesn't add up, it's usually not the truth. Everything that she brings to light and that she's talking about makes sense.
Right.
And okay, I get it. Like, there is such thing as irony, but irony is one of those things that happen like every now and then. That shit was happening regularly. That's not irony anymore. It's what it is it's fucking proof. It's proof. It's the proof in the pudding. So so let me ask you, what's your verdict on Dan Schneider? How you feel about him?
I think he really likes feet.
Yeah, he definitely do.
And he used it as a leverage for his sickness. And it's all fucked up because it gives me a whole 70 perverted pedophile vibe. You know what I mean? Looking at the video, looking at him himself. Like, bro, yeah, you ain't right. You just look like you're not right. And I don't know if he even had conversations with them kids' parents. He probably just let the money talk to him
Exactly.
and assistance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he probably never had you right about that. I didn't even think about that too. Like, he probably never had like one-on-one conversations with the parents, but maybe once.
Right.
And whatever that conversation was, it was probably so fucking short because he's so fucking busy, in quotations, that, you know, he'd keep it moving. Because if they would have spent too much time with him, he would have exposed himself.
Right.
They would have been like, wait a minute, you talking weird, you're moving weird, you know what I mean? Like, you starting
want
to
my
give...
kid to just be on there with their feet? Like...
Right. Yo, that shit's crazy. Dan Schneider, you're dirty. You're a dirt ball.
Failed.
You're a dirt ball. That shit's crazy. I want to see what everybody in the comments, what y'all think about Dan Schneider. Deuce Dosage said, not Dirty Dan. Yeah, man, dirty motherfucking Dan, man.
Dirty Dan.
Katessa said, I think a lie detector test wouldn't do anything. These parents all had a inkling of what was going on, and they decided the wealth of their children was more important than the health of their children.
That's hard.
Brian Russell said, yeah, me and the wife watched this shit over the weekend. Crazy shit. He said, I ate a gummy and was like, what the fuck?
Shout out to Brian, man, one of my guys.
Yo, it's crazy. Dan Schneider, you're a dirtball. Man, it's straight up. You're just a fucking dirtball.
Hope you get no more gigs.
No more. I hope DoorDash don't even hire your ass. Like,
I hope the next job you get, you're doing photos for prison feet.
Yeah. Doing them prison foot photos.
You dig?
You know that motherfucker's bottom bunk.
They gonna be taking pictures of his feet.
Facts. Well, shit, that's the end of this motherfucking show. Shouts out
Dan,
to motherfucking...
you suck, Dan.
Facts. Shouts out to Duck Stripper motherfucking Drive for guest hosting tonight, chopping it up with me and giving me his feedback on dirty old Dan Schneider and Nickelodeon's biggest disgrace ever. Y'all, sooner or later, this gonna be up on Spotify. Make sure y'all tap in. I'll be posting a link for that here shortly. And without no further ado.
Hit that subscribe button, man. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, man. Follow and subscribe. You dig?
Absolutely. I appreciate you, Duck, man. I got something for you too.
Most definitely. Appreciate it. And look, man, when you ready to talk about some of them aliens.
Yeah, that's coming. Because that's
ready to talk about, you know, people got this, they got their panties in a bunch. Kendrick done motherfucking shook the airways once again.
Oh, him, J. Cole, and Drake.
Yeah, except this time he put his thumb on their heads, you know what I'm saying? And so, you know, people, to me, is getting it all misconstrued.
I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Kendrick definitely eat both of them. And now, don't get me wrong, Drake and J. Cole are goats for sure.
They definitely are.
But Kendrick is a different beast. Like, from the moment he came out the gate, like, I remember years ago, he was at Dr. Dre's house, sitting at their kitchen bar, rapping and shit. And that was the first time I ever seen Kendrick Lamar, and then boom, he was everywhere. Like, he's a different beast. Like, it's different.
Different. And you know, I think he did what he came to do on that track. I don't think he came to make the track to be the hardest track he ever wrote or any of those certs, but I think he came to do exactly what he did. He talked about who he wanted to talk about, and he let it be known. You feel me? So I think that's another good one. You know what I'm saying? So I've been seeing people feedback on it, and it's just like everybody talking about it's not his hardest track. I don't think it's supposed to be his hardest track.
Nah, it's not to me, it's not about the track being harder. It's about what was said. You know what I mean? Like, cause then that turns into a whole nother debate, right? Like on beat selection and cadence and the mix. Like we can, you know what I mean? It gets too deep. Like you got to pay attention to what's being said. But nowadays, the problem is people listen to the beat more than they listen to what the fuck's being spoke about. And that's why we have so much music on the airwaves that don't make no fucking sense, but the beat slams.
Yeah, the beat slam.
But when when it's time to talk about them aliens, I'm ready, cause this shit gets deep. Like the Nephilim and all that, but that's a whole nother show. I'm totally with that shit, man.
Yeah, most definitely.
So shouts out to Duck Stripper Drive for co-hosting with me tonight.
Shout out to Gavin Noble, man.
You already know what time it is. I'm about to roll this shit out, you know. Don't
Get
forget.
the scoop.
Yeah, come around this motherfucker and get a scoop. Let's go.
Get a scoop, man.
Normally you go to the ice cream shop to get a scoop. But if you just tune in to Gavin Noble and all his special guests, you could get a scoop. Now I'm not telling you that we provide vanilla, chocolate, pecan, strawberry. But what I can tell you is that this information is far from salt. Come get a scoop of this knowledge. Come get a scoop of this information. You might not be able to scoop me up in your ride, but you can come get a scoop of this
information. Yeah.
Come get a scoop. I know you motherfuckers got a scoop today. Make sure you tune back in and get another scoop. Yeah.